In the far northwestern corner of Canada, where the country meets Alaska and the Arctic, lies a land of staggering beauty and brutal extremes, a territory larger than many countries, yet home to fewer people than a single neighborhood in a major city. A place where winter temperatures plunge to depths that challenge survival, where summers bring nearly endless daylight, and where the wilderness stretches beyond the horizon in every direction. This is the Yukon. The Yukon Territory occupies approximately 482,000 square kilometers in northwestern Canada. It is bordered by Alaska to the west, the Northwest Territories to the east, British Columbia to the south, and the Beaufort Sea to the north. Despite its vast size, larger than California, larger than Germany, larger than many nations, the Yukon is home to fewer than 45,000 people. The population density is among the lowest on Earth. Yet this is not an empty land. The Yukon has been home to Indigenous peoples for thousands of years, peoples who developed sophisticated knowledge and culture perfectly adapted to one of the world's most challenging environments. It has been the site of one of history's greatest gold rushes, drawing tens of thousands of fortune seekers into the wilderness. It remains home to people who have chosen to live in extreme conditions, drawn by the beauty, the freedom, and the unique character of the North. The challenges of living in the Yukon are extraordinary. Winter temperatures can drop below -40 degrees Celsius, occasionally reaching -50 or lower. The northern reaches experience weeks of complete darkness during winter and continuous daylight during summer. The terrain is rugged and remote, with limited road access and vast wilderness areas. Distances between settlements can be enormous. Modern amenities that most people take for granted are often unavailable or expensive. Despite these challenges, people not only survive in the Yukon, they thrive. They have built communities, developed economies, and created rich cultural lives. They have learned to work with the extreme environment rather than against it. They have developed knowledge, skills, and attitudes that allow them to flourish where many would perish. How do people thrive in such extreme conditions? What knowledge and skills are required? What draws people to live in such a challenging environment? What can the Yukon teach us about human resilience and adaptation? So if you have a moment, stay with us as we journey to the Yukon to understand how people have learned to live and thrive in the extreme Canadian North. As we explore the history, the culture, the challenges, and the remarkable adaptations that make life possible in this extraordinary territory, as we discover what it means to call one of Earth's harshest environments home. To understand how people thrive in the Yukon, you must first understand the land itself, its geography, climate, and the extreme conditions that define it. The Yukon is dominated by mountains. The territory contains some of the highest peaks in North America, including Mount Logan, Canada's highest mountain at 5,959 meters, the St. Elias Mountains in the southwest contain massive ice fields and glaciers. The Mackenzie Mountains form part of the eastern boundary. These mountain ranges create dramatic terrain and influence weather patterns throughout the territory. The Yukon River, one of the longest rivers in North America, gives the territory its name. The river flows approximately 190 kilometers from its headwaters in British Columbia through the Yukon and Alaska to the Bering Sea. For thousands of years, the river has been a transportation corridor, a source of food, and a central feature of life in the region. The landscape varies from the high mountains of the southwest to the rolling hills and plateaus of the central regions to the Arctic coastal plain in the north. Forests of spruce, pine, and aspen cover much of the southern and central territory. As you move north, the forests give way to tundra, a landscape of low vegetation adapted to extreme cold. The climate of the Yukon is subarctic to Arctic, characterized by extreme cold in winter and surprisingly warm summers. Winter is the dominant season, lasting from October through April or May. During the depths of winter, temperatures regularly drop below -30 degrees Celsius. The record low temperature in the Yukon is -63 degrees Celsius, recorded at Snag in 1947. One of the coldest temperatures ever recorded in North America. At these extreme temperatures, life becomes a constant battle against the cold. Exposed flesh can freeze within minutes. Vehicles must be specially prepared and often kept running or plugged into electrical heaters. Simple activities like breathing become uncomfortable as cold air enters the lungs. The cold is not merely an inconvenience. It is a potentially lethal force that demands constant respect and preparation. The winter darkness adds to the challenge. In the northern parts of the Yukon, above the Arctic Circle, the sun does not rise for weeks during midwinter. Even in the Southern Territory, winter days are extremely short, with only a few hours of dim daylight. The extended darkness affects mood, sleep patterns, and daily activities. Summer, by contrast, brings nearly endless daylight. Above the Arctic Circle, the sun does not set for weeks during midsummer. Even in the southern Yukon, summer days are extremely long, with daylight lasting nearly 20 hours. This continued daylight allows for rapid plant growth and supports a brief but intense burst of biological activity. Summer temperatures can be surprisingly warm. Temperatures in the 20 Celsius are common, and occasionally temperatures reach 30 degrees or higher. The combination of warm temperatures and continuous daylight creates ideal conditions for a brief but vibrant growing season. The dramatic seasonal variation, from extreme cold and darkness in winter to warmth and continuous light in summer, is a defining feature of Yukon life. People must adapt to these extreme variations, adjusting their activities, schedules, and even psychology to the changing seasons. Permafrost underlies much of the Yukon. This permanently frozen ground affects construction, infrastructure, and ecosystems. Building on permafrost requires special techniques to prevent the ground from thawing and destabilizing structures. As climate change warms the region, permafrost is beginning to thaw, creating new challenges. The remoteness of the Yukon is another defining characteristic. Settlements are scattered across vast distances. Many communities are accessible only by air or by long drives over isolated roads. Some communities have no road access at all and depend on air transport or seasonal river transport. This remoteness creates challenges for supply, communication, and emergency services. Long before Europeans arrived, Indigenous peoples lived in the Yukon and developed sophisticated knowledge and culture perfectly adapted to the extreme environment. These First Nations peoples represent thousands of years of accumulated wisdom about thriving in the north. The Indigenous peoples of the Yukon include various First Nations, each with distinct languages, cultures, and territories. These include the Gwich'in, Han, Kaska, Northern Tutchone, Southern Tutchone, Tagish, Tlingit, and others. Each group developed knowledge specific to their territory and way of life. For thousands of years, these peoples lived as hunters, fishers, and gatherers. They followed seasonal patterns, moving to take advantage of resources as they became available. In summer, they fished for salmon in the rivers and gathered berries and other plants. In autumn, they hunted moose, caribou, and other game to build up food reserves for winter. In winter, they relied on stored food and continued hunting and trapping. The knowledge required to survive was extensive and sophisticated. Indigenous peoples understood animal behavior and migration patterns. They knew which plants were edible and which had medicinal properties. They understood weather patterns and could predict changes. They knew how to travel safely across the landscape in all seasons. Survival in winter required particular knowledge and skills. Indigenous peoples developed sophisticated clothing made from animal hides and furs that provided excellent insulation. Caribou hide was particularly valued for its insulating properties. The clothing was designed in layers, allowing people to adjust to varying conditions and activity levels. Shelter was another crucial adaptation. Indigenous peoples developed various types of dwellings, suited to different seasons and circumstances. Winter dwellings were designed to retain heat and provide protection from extreme cold. The knowledge of how to build effective shelter was essential for survival. Food preservation was critical for surviving the long winters. Indigenous peoples developed methods to preserve fish and meat, including drying, smoking, and freezing. The cold climate itself served as a natural freezer, allowing food to be stored frozen through the winter. These preservation techniques ensured food security through the lean winter months. Transportation across the landscape required specialized knowledge and equipment. Indigenous peoples developed snowshoes for traveling over snow. They used dog teams to pull sleds, allowing transportation of people and goods across long distances. In summer, they traveled by canoe along rivers and lakes. This transportation knowledge connected to communities and enabled trade. The social organization of indigenous peoples reflected the demands of the environment. Communities were often small and mobile, allowing flexibility to follow resources. Cooperation and sharing were essential values, as survival often depended on mutual support. Knowledge was passed from generation to generation through oral tradition and direct teaching. Spiritual beliefs and practices were intimately connected to the land and animals. Indigenous peoples viewed themselves as part of the natural world, with deep respect for the animals they hunted and the land that sustained them. Ceremonies and traditions reinforced these relationships and transmitted cultural values. The arrival of Europeans dramatically affected indigenous peoples. The fur trade brought new economic relationships, but also disrupted traditional ways of life. Diseases brought by Europeans devastated indigenous populations who had no immunity. The gold rush brought a massive influx of outsiders that transformed the territory. Despite these disruptions, indigenous cultures in the Yukon have survived and are experiencing revitalization. First Nations have negotiated land claims agreements that recognize their rights and provide self-government. Traditional knowledge and practices are being preserved and taught to younger generations. Indigenous languages, though threatened, are being revitalized. Today, indigenous peoples make up approximately 25% of the Yukon's population. They play important roles in the territory's economy, governance, and culture. The traditional knowledge developed over thousands of years remains relevant and valuable, particularly as climate change creates new challenges. The most dramatic episode in Yukon history was the Klondike Gold Rush of 1896 to 1899. This event transformed the territory and remains central to its identity and history. The gold rush began in August 1896, when gold was discovered in Bonanza Creek, a tributary of the Klondike River near present-day Dawson City. The discovery was made by George Carmack and his indigenous companions Skookum, Jim, and Dawson Charlie. News of the discovery spread slowly at first, but when ships carrying gold-laden prospectors arrived in Seattle and San Francisco in 1897, gold fever swept across North America and beyond. Tens of thousands of people set out for the Klondike, hoping to strike it rich. They came from across North America and around the world. Most had no experience with the harsh northern environment. They were drawn by dreams of gold and adventure, often with little understanding of the challenges they would face. The journey to the Klondike was extraordinarily difficult. The most common route involved sailing to the Alaska coast, then crossing the mountains via the Chilkoot Pass or White Pass to reach the headwaters of the Yukon River. From there, prospectors built boats and floated down the river to Dawson City. The Chilkoot Pass became legendary for its difficulty. The Canadian government required each prospector to bring a year's supply of goods, approximately 1 ton of provisions, to prevent starvation. This meant prospectors had to make dozens of trips up the steep pass, carrying their goods in stages. The famous photographs of a line of prospectors climbing the snow-covered pass capture the determination and hardship of the journey. Many who set out for the Klondike never reached their destination. Some died from accidents, disease, or exposure. Some gave up and turned back. Others were delayed and arrived after the best claims had already been staked. Of the estimated 100 known people who set out for the Klondike, perhaps only 13 to 40,000 actually reached Dawson City. Dawson City grew explosively during the gold rush. From almost nothing, it became a city of approximately 30,000 people at its peak. The largest city in northwestern Canada at the time. The city had hotels, saloons, dance halls, banks, and businesses. It was a wild and chaotic place, with fortunes made and lost, with both opportunity and exploitation. The reality of gold mining was harsh. Most prospectors found little or no gold. The best claims were quickly staked by those who arrived first. Mining was backbreaking work, often conducted in extreme cold. The frozen ground had to be thawed before it could be dug. Many who came seeking fortune found only hardship and disappointment, yet some did strike it rich. The Klondike produced enormous quantities of gold. Some individuals became wealthy. The gold extracted during the rush was worth hundreds of millions of dollars in modern terms. The wealth flowed not only to miners, but to merchants, business people, and others who provided goods and services. The gold rush had profound effects on the Yukon. It brought the territory to international attention. It led to the creation of the Yukon Territory as a separate political entity in 1898. It brought infrastructure development, including the construction of the White Pass and Yukon Route Railway. It dramatically increased the non-Indigenous population. The gold rush also had devastating effects on Indigenous peoples. The massive influx of outsiders disrupted traditional ways of life. Competition for resources increased. Diseases spread. The environmental impact of mining damaged the land and waters that Indigenous peoples depended upon. By 1899, the gold rush was largely over. The easily accessible gold had been extracted. Many prospectors left, some moving on to new gold discoveries in Alaska. Dawson City's population declined dramatically. The boom had become a bust. However, the legacy of the gold rush endures. Dawson City is preserved as a historic site, attracting tourists who come to experience the gold rush era. The story of the Klondike has become legendary, capturing the imagination of people worldwide. The gold rush remains central to Yukon identity and history. Gold mining continues in the Yukon today, though on a different scale and with modern techniques. The territory still produces gold, contributing to its economy. The legacy of the gold rush lives on in the ongoing importance of mining to the Yukon. Whitehorse, the capital of the Yukon, is the heart of modern life in the territory. With a population of approximately 28, about 2/3 of the entire territory's population, Whitehorse is the economic, political, and cultural center of the Yukon. Whitehorse is located on the banks of the Yukon River in the southern part of the territory. The city's name comes from the rapids on the river that reminded early travelers of the manes of white horses. The rapids were a significant obstacle during the gold rush era before the construction of a dam. The city developed as a transportation hub. During the gold rush, it was a stopping point on the route to the Klondike. The construction of the White Pass and the Yukon Route Railway made Whitehorse an important transfer point between rail and river transportation. During World War II, the construction of the Alaska Highway further established Whitehorse as a transportation center. Today, Whitehorse is a modern small city that provides services to the entire territory. It has government offices, businesses, schools, a college, hospitals, and cultural institutions. Most goods and services available in southern Canadian cities are available in Whitehorse, though often at higher prices due to transportation costs. Despite its modern amenities, Whitehorse retains a distinctive northern character. The city is surrounded by wilderness. Wildlife, including bears and other animals, occasionally venture into the city. Outdoor recreation is central to life. Residents value the connection to nature and the outdoor lifestyle that the location provides. The climate in Whitehorse, while extreme by southern standards, is milder than in many other parts of the Yukon. Winter temperatures average around -18 degrees Celsius, though they can drop much lower. Summer temperatures are pleasant, often reaching the low 20s Celsius. The city receives relatively little precipitation, creating a semi-arid climate. Life in Whitehorse requires adaptation to the northern environment. Winter activities include skiing, snowmobiling, ice fishing, and other winter sports. Summer brings hiking, canoeing, fishing, and other outdoor activities. The continuous daylight of summer allows for extended outdoor recreation. The economy of Whitehorse is based on government, tourism, mining services, and retail. As the capital, the territorial government is a major employer. Tourism is increasingly important, with visitors drawn to the wilderness, the history, and the northern lights. The mining industry, though located in remote areas, is serviced from Whitehorse. Whitehorse has a diverse population. In addition to people of European descent, the city has a significant indigenous population. There are also immigrants from various countries who have been drawn to the opportunities and lifestyle of the North. This diversity contributes to a vibrant cultural life. Cultural institutions in Whitehorse include museums, galleries, theatres, and performance spaces. The city hosts festivals and events throughout the year. The Yukon Arts Centre provides a venue for performances and exhibitions. Cultural life is surprisingly rich for a city of its size and remote location. The cost of living in Whitehorse is high. The remoteness means that most goods must be transported long distances, increasing prices. Housing is expensive. Food and other necessities cost more than in southern Canada. However, wages are also generally higher, and many residents feel that the quality of life justifies the higher costs. Whitehorse serves as a gateway to the wilderness that surrounds it. From the city, residents and visitors can access vast areas of pristine nature. The combination of urban amenities and immediate access to wilderness is part of what makes Whitehorse attractive to those who choose to live there. Winter is the defining challenge of life in the Yukon. Understanding how people survive and even thrive during the long, cold, dark winter is essential to understanding life in the North. The winter in the Yukon is long, typically lasting from October through April or May. During this period, temperatures regularly drop below freezing, often far below. The coldest months are December, January, and February, when temperatures can plunge to -40 degrees Celsius or lower. Preparing for winter is a year-round activity. During the brief summer and autumn, people prepare for the coming cold. They cut and stack firewood. They prepare their homes and vehicles. They stock up on supplies. They preserve food. The summer abundance must sustain people through the long winter. Heating is a critical concern. Most homes are heated with wood, oil, electricity, or a combination. Wood heating is common, and many people cut their own firewood. The cost of heating is substantial, and ensuring adequate heat through the winter is essential for survival. Clothing is crucial for surviving the extreme cold. People wear multiple layers with insulating materials and wind-resistant outer shells. Proper winter clothing, including insulated boots, gloves, hats, and face protection, is essential for any outdoor activity. The investment in good winter clothing is necessary and significant. Vehicles require special preparation for winter. Engine block heaters are essential, allowing engines to start in extreme cold. Vehicles are often left plugged in when parked. Special winter tires provide traction on snow and ice. Many people keep emergency supplies in their vehicles in case of breakdown in remote areas. The cold affects every aspect of daily life. Simple tasks become more difficult. Going outside requires preparation. Vehicles may not start. Pipes can freeze. The cold demands constant attention and respect. A failure to prepare adequately can have serious or even fatal consequences. The winter darkness presents psychological challenges. The short days and long nights can affect mood and energy levels. Seasonal affective disorder is a concern. Many people use light therapy and other techniques to cope with the darkness. Maintaining social connections and staying active are important for psychological well-being. Despite the challenges, many people embrace winter. Winter activities provide enjoyment and exercise. Skiing, snowshoeing, snowmobiling, ice fishing, and dog sledding are popular. The winter landscape is beautiful, with snow-covered terrain and the possibility of viewing the northern lights. The northern lights, or aurora borealis, are a highlight of the winter. The Yukon is one of the best places in the world to view the aurora. During clear winter nights, the sky may come alive with dancing curtains of colored light. The aurora provides beauty and wonder during the dark winter months. Community is essential for surviving winter. People rely on each other for support and assistance. Neighbors help each other. Communities organize events and activities to maintain social connections during the long winter. The sense of community and mutual support is strong in northern communities. Winter also has practical advantages. The frozen ground and frozen rivers and lakes create ice roads that allow access to areas that are difficult to reach in summer. Travel over frozen terrain can be easier than travel through summer mud and across unfrozen rivers. Some communities are accessible only via ice roads during winter. The relationship with winter in the Yukon is complex. Winter is challenging and demands respect and preparation, but it is also embraced as part of life in the north. Those who thrive in the Yukon have learned to work with winter rather than merely endure it. They find beauty, recreation, and meaning in the winter season. The Yukon is home to abundant and diverse wildlife adapted to the extreme northern environment. The wildlife is central to the ecology, the indigenous culture, and the experience of living in the north. Large mammals are among the most iconic Yukon wildlife. Moose are common throughout the territory. These massive animals, the largest members of the deer family, are an important food source for both indigenous peoples and other residents. Moose are adapted to the cold with thick fur and the ability to feed on woody vegetation in winter. Caribou are another important species. The Yukon is home to several caribou herds, including the porcupine caribou herd, which undertakes one of the longest land migrations of any animal. Caribou have been central to indigenous culture and subsistence for thousands of years. The herds migrate across vast distances, following seasonal patterns. Bears inhabit the Yukon, including both grizzly bears and black bears. These powerful predators are part of the northern ecosystem and command respect. Bears hibernate during winter, emerging in spring to feed. Encounters between bears and humans require caution and proper precautions. Wolves are important predators in the Yukon ecosystem. They hunt in packs, preying on moose, caribou, and other animals. Wolves play a crucial role in maintaining the balance of the ecosystem. They are adapted to the cold and can travel long distances in search of prey. Smaller mammals include foxes, lynx, wolverines, beavers, and various rodents. The lynx, a wild cat adapted to deep snow, preys primarily on snowshoe hares. The wolverine is a powerful and tenacious predator and scavenger. Beavers are important for creating wetland habitat. Birds are abundant, particularly during the summer breeding season. Many bird species migrate to the Yukon to take advantage of the brief but productive summer. Waterfowl, raptors, and songbirds are common. The continuous daylight of summer allows extended feeding and breeding activity. As winter approaches, most birds migrate south, though some hardy species remain year-round. The rivers and lakes support fish populations that are important for both wildlife and humans. Salmon return to spawn in the rivers, providing food for bears, eagles, and other animals, as well as for people. Other fish species, including trout, grayling, and whitefish, inhabit the waters. The wildlife is adapted to survive the extreme cold. Many animals have thick fur or feathers for insulation. Some hibernate to survive the winter. Others migrate to avoid the worst conditions. Some remain active throughout winter, having evolved adaptations that allow them to find food and survive the cold. Wildlife is central to indigenous culture and subsistence. For thousands of years, indigenous peoples have depended on wildlife for food, clothing, and materials. Hunting and fishing remain important activities, both for subsistence and for maintaining cultural traditions. The relationship between indigenous peoples and wildlife is deep and respectful. For other residents, wildlife is part of the appeal of living in the Yukon. The opportunity to see and interact with wildlife is valued. Wildlife viewing, hunting, and fishing are popular activities. The presence of abundant wildlife is part of what makes the Yukon special. However, wildlife also presents challenges. Bears can be dangerous and require precautions. Wildlife can damage property or pose risks to safety. Managing the relationship between humans and wildlife requires knowledge and care. Climate change is affecting Yukon wildlife. Changing temperatures and conditions are affecting animal populations and behaviors. Some species may be threatened by changing conditions. The caribou herds in particular may be vulnerable to changes in their environment. Understanding and responding to these changes is an ongoing concern. The economy of the Yukon is shaped by its remote location, extreme climate, and abundant natural resources. Understanding the economy helps explain how people make a living in the north. Mining has historically been and remains central to the Yukon economy. The territory was built on the gold rush, and mining continues to be important. Gold, silver, copper, zinc, lead, and other minerals are extracted. Modern mining operations use sophisticated techniques and equipment. The mining industry provides employment and contributes significantly to the territory's economy. The challenges of mining in the north are substantial. The remote locations require expensive infrastructure and transportation. The extreme cold affects operations and equipment. The permafrost complicates construction and mining. Environmental concerns and Indigenous land rights must be addressed. Despite these challenges, mining remains economically viable due to the value of the minerals extracted. Tourism is increasingly important to the Yukon economy. Visitors are drawn by the wilderness, the history of the wildlife, and the northern lights. The gold rush history, particularly Dawson City, attracts tourists interested in this dramatic period. Outdoor activities including hiking, canoeing, fishing, and wildlife viewing attract nature enthusiasts. Winter tourism, including aurora viewing and winter sports, is growing. The tourism industry provides employment and economic diversification. Hotels, restaurants, tour operators, and related businesses benefit from tourism. The industry helps reduce dependence on resource extraction. However, tourism is seasonal and can be affected by economic conditions and other factors. Government is a major employer in the Yukon. As a territory, the Yukon has a territorial government that provides services and employment. The federal government also has a significant presence. Government employment provides stable, well-paying jobs and is important to the economy, particularly in Whitehorse. The traditional economy of hunting, fishing, and trapping continues, particularly among Indigenous peoples. While no longer the primary economy for most people, these activities remain important for subsistence and cultural reasons. Trapping for furs, though diminished from historical levels, continues. These traditional activities connect people to the land and maintain cultural traditions. Small business and entrepreneurship are important in the Yukon. The remote location and small population create both challenges and opportunities for business. Some entrepreneurs have found success providing goods and services to the local population or to tourists. The independent, self-reliant character of northern residents supports entrepreneurship. The cost of doing business in the north is high. Transportation costs increase the price of goods and materials. The small market limits economies of scale. The extreme climate adds costs. Energy is expensive in remote areas. These factors challenge businesses and contribute to the high cost of living. Energy is a significant economic factor. Much of the Yukon's energy comes from hydroelectric power, supplemented by diesel generation in remote areas. The cost of energy, particularly in remote communities dependent on diesel, is high. Renewable energy development, including solar and wind, is being explored to reduce costs and environmental impact. The economy faces challenges including dependence on resource extraction, the high cost of living, the small population, and the remote location. Economic diversification is a goal, with tourism and other sectors being developed. The boom and bust cycles of resource extraction create economic instability. Despite the challenges, the Yukon economy provides opportunities for those willing to work in the north. Wages are generally higher than in southern Canada, partly to compensate for the higher cost of living and the challenges of northern life. For those who value the northern lifestyle, the economic opportunities make life in the Yukon viable. While Whitehorse dominates the Yukon's population, numerous smaller communities are scattered across the territory. These communities, each with distinct character and challenges, represent different ways of living in the north. Dawson City, the historic heart of the gold rush, is one of the most significant communities outside Whitehorse. With a population of around 1,400, Dawson City is much smaller than during the gold rush, but it remains important as a tourist destination and a center for the surrounding region. The city has preserved its gold rush heritage with historic buildings and a frontier atmosphere. Mining continues in the surrounding area. Watson Lake, located in the southeastern Yukon near the British Columbia border, is known for its signpost forest, a collection of thousands of signs from around the world. The community serves as a service center for the surrounding region and for travelers on the Alaska Highway. Haines Junction, located near Kluane National Park, serves as a gateway to the park and its spectacular mountains and ice fields. The community provides services to tourists visiting the park and to the surrounding region. Numerous First Nations communities are located throughout the territory. These communities, often small and remote, maintain Indigenous culture and traditions. Many have negotiated self-government agreements that give them control over their affairs. These communities face particular challenges related to remoteness, economic development, and maintaining traditional ways of life. The smaller communities face significant challenges. Remoteness creates difficulties for supply, services, and transportation. Economic opportunities are often limited. Access to healthcare, education, and other services may be restricted. Maintaining population and preventing outmigration is a concern. Yet these communities also have strengths. The strong sense of community and mutual support helps people cope with challenges. The connection to the land and traditional ways of life is valued. The slower pace of life and the natural environment appeal to many residents. Life in remote communities requires self-reliance and adaptability. Residents often must provide for themselves in ways that urban dwellers do not. Skills such as hunting, fishing, repairing equipment, and managing without ready access to services are valuable. The independence and self-sufficiency of community members is notable. Transportation is a major challenge for remote communities. Some are accessible only by air or by long drives over isolated roads. Some depend on seasonal access via ice roads in winter or river transport in summer. The cost and difficulty of transportation affects every aspect of community life. The communities are connected by the road network where it exists, but many areas remain remote. The Alaska Highway, built during World War II, provides a major transportation corridor. Other highways connect various communities. However, vast areas of the territory have no road access. Communication has improved with modern technology. Internet and telephone service connect even remote communities to the wider world. This connectivity reduces isolation and enables access to information, services, and social connections. However, the quality and cost of communication services can be issues in remote areas. The communities of the Yukon, despite their challenges, represent the diversity of life in the north. From the historic gold rush town of Dawson City to remote First Nations communities to service centers, along the highways, each community has its own character and way of life. Together, they make up the human fabric of the territory. In recent decades, Indigenous peoples in the Yukon have experienced a cultural and political renaissance. This revitalization is transforming the territory and reasserting the central role of Indigenous peoples in the north. For much of the 20th century, Indigenous peoples in the Yukon faced policies designed to assimilate them into mainstream Canadian society. The residential school system removed children from their families and communities, attempting to eliminate Indigenous languages and cultures. These policies had devastating effects, causing intergenerational trauma and threatening the survival of Indigenous cultures. Beginning in the 1970s, Indigenous peoples began to assert their rights and reclaim their cultures. The land claims process resulted in agreements that recognized Indigenous rights to land and resources. These agreements also provided for self-government, giving First Nations control over their own affairs. The Umbrella Final Agreement, signed in 1993, provided a framework for land claims and self-government agreements with individual First Nations. Subsequently, most Yukon First Nations have negotiated their own agreements. These agreements recognize Indigenous title to lands, provide financial compensation, and establish self-government structures. Self-government has empowered First Nations to manage their own affairs. They have authority over matters including education, health, social services, land management, and cultural preservation. This self-determination allows First Nations to develop programs and policies suited to their needs and values. Cultural revitalization is a central focus. Indigenous languages threatened by decades of suppression are being revitalized. Language programs teach Indigenous languages to younger generations. Efforts are made to document and preserve languages before the last fluent speakers pass away. Traditional knowledge and practices are being preserved and transmitted. Elders share their knowledge with younger people. Traditional skills such as hunting, fishing, and crafts are taught. Cultural ceremonies and traditions are practiced and revived. This transmission of knowledge ensures cultural continuity. The relationship between Indigenous peoples and the land is being reaffirmed. Traditional territories are recognized. Indigenous peoples participate in land and resource management. Traditional ecological knowledge is increasingly valued and incorporated into environmental management. This knowledge, accumulated over thousands of years, is recognized as valuable. Indigenous peoples are increasingly involved in the territory's economy. First Nations development corporations engage in business ventures. Indigenous peoples work in various sectors of the economy. Economic development on Indigenous terms is a goal, balancing economic opportunity with cultural values and environmental protection. The political influence of Indigenous peoples has grown. First Nations governments are significant players in territorial affairs. Indigenous perspectives are increasingly considered in decision-making. The relationship between Indigenous governments and the territorial government continues to evolve. Challenges remain. The legacy of colonization, including intergenerational trauma, continues to affect Indigenous peoples. Social and economic disparities persist. The full implementation of self-government agreements is ongoing. The revitalization of languages and cultures is a long-term effort. Nevertheless, the Indigenous Renaissance represents a profound transformation. Indigenous peoples are reclaiming their place in the Yukon. They are reasserting their cultures, governing their own affairs, and shaping the future of the territory. This renaissance is one of the most significant developments in the modern Yukon. The connection to the outdoors is central to life in the Yukon. The wilderness that surrounds communities provides opportunities for recreation, subsistence, and connection to nature that define the northern lifestyle. Hiking is popular during the summer months. The Yukon offers spectacular hiking opportunities, from day hikes to multi-day wilderness expeditions. Kluane National Park, with its massive mountains and ice fields, offers some of the most dramatic hiking in North America. Trails throughout the territory provide access to diverse landscapes. Canoeing and kayaking are popular activities, taking advantage of the territory's many rivers and lakes. The Yukon River, in particular, offers extended canoe trips through wilderness. Paddlers can follow routes used by Indigenous peoples and gold rush prospectors. The continuous daylight of summer allows extended paddling. Fishing is both a recreational activity and a source of food. The rivers and lakes support populations of salmon, trout, grayling, and other fish. Fishing connects people to the land and provides fresh food. Both Indigenous and non-Indigenous residents value fishing. Hunting remains important, both for subsistence and recreation. Moose, caribou, and other game provide food. For Indigenous peoples, hunting maintains cultural traditions and provides traditional foods. For others, hunting is both practical and connects them to the northern way of life. Winter recreation takes advantage of the snow and cold. Cross-country skiing and snowshoeing allow travel across the winter landscape. Snowmobiling provides transportation and recreation. Ice fishing is popular. Dog sledding, with deep historical roots in the north, continues both as recreation and as a connection to tradition. The Yukon Quest, an international sled dog race, is one of the most challenging sporting events in the world. The race covers approximately 600 kilometers between Whitehorse and Fairbanks, Alaska, through extreme winter conditions. The race tests the endurance and skill of both mushers and dogs, embodying the spirit of northern adventure. Viewing the northern lights is a popular winter activity. The Yukon's location and clear skies make it one of the best places in the world to see the aurora. During clear winter nights, residents and visitors watch the sky for displays of dancing colored light. The aurora is a source of wonder and beauty. The midnight sun of summer allows extended outdoor activities. With nearly 20 hours of daylight, people can hike, paddle, fish, and engage in other activities late into the evening. The continuous light energizes people and allows them to make the most of the brief summer season. Wildlife viewing is a valued activity. The opportunity to see moose, bears, caribou, eagles, and other animals in their natural habitat is part of the appeal of the North. Wildlife viewing requires patience and respect for the animals and their environment. The wilderness provides not just recreation, but a sense of freedom and connection to nature that is central to the Northern identity. The vast, pristine landscapes offer escape from the constraints of modern urban life. The connection to the natural world is a fundamental part of why many people choose to live in the Yukon. Outdoor skills are valued and necessary. Knowing how to travel safely in the wilderness, how to handle extreme weather, how to deal with wildlife, and how to provide for oneself in the outdoors are important skills. These skills are part of the knowledge required to thrive in the North. The outdoor lifestyle of the Yukon is both demanding and rewarding. It requires knowledge, skills, and respect for the power of nature, but it provides experiences, freedom, and connection to the natural world that those who embrace the northern life value deeply. While the Yukon offers a unique and rewarding lifestyle, life in the North also presents significant challenges. Understanding these challenges provides a complete picture of what it means to thrive in the extreme Canadian North. The high cost of living is a major challenge. The remoteness of the Yukon means that most goods must be transported long distances, increasing prices. Food, housing, fuel, and other necessities cost significantly more than in southern Canada. While wages are generally higher, the high cost of living affects everyone. Access to healthcare is a concern. While Whitehorse has a hospital and medical services, specialized care often requires travel to southern Canada. Remote communities may have limited medical services. Medical emergencies in remote areas can be life-threatening due to the difficulty of transportation. The healthcare challenges of the North are significant. Education presents challenges, particularly in remote communities. While Whitehorse has good educational facilities, including a college, smaller communities may have limited educational options. Students from remote areas may need to leave their communities to pursue higher education. Maintaining quality education in remote areas is difficult. Mental health is a significant concern. The isolation, the extended darkness of winter, and the challenges of northern life can affect mental health. Seasonal affective disorder, depression, and other mental health issues are concerns. Access to mental health services can be limited, particularly in remote areas. The territory has higher rates of some mental health issues than southern Canada. Substance abuse is a problem in some communities. The challenges of northern life, combined with historical trauma, particularly among Indigenous peoples, contribute to substance abuse issues. Addressing these issues requires comprehensive approaches that consider the underlying causes. The legacy of colonization continues to affect Indigenous peoples. Intergenerational trauma from residential schools and other colonial policies persists. Social and economic disparities between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples remain. Healing from this legacy is an ongoing process. Employment opportunities can be limited, particularly in remote communities. While Whitehorse has a diverse economy, smaller communities may have few employment options. Dependence on resource extraction creates economic instability. Economic diversification is needed but challenging. The extreme climate, while embraced by many, also presents ongoing challenges. The cold, the starkness, and the demands of preparing for and surviving winter require constant effort. The climate affects every aspect of life and demands respect and preparation. Climate change is creating new challenges. The warming climate is affecting permafrost, wildlife, and ecosystems. Infrastructure built on permafrost is threatened by thawing. Traditional activities that depend on stable climate patterns are disrupted. The changes create uncertainty about the future. Maintaining population is a challenge. The difficulties of northern life lead some people to leave. Attracting and retaining residents, particularly skilled workers and professionals, can be difficult. The small population limits services and economic opportunities. Despite these challenges, people continue to choose to live in the Yukon. They find ways to address the challenges. They value the benefits of northern life enough to accept the difficulties. The challenges are real, but so are the rewards that draw people to the north and keep them there. The Yukon, like other northern regions, is on the front lines of climate change. The north is warming faster than the global average, and the effects are already being felt throughout the territory. Temperatures in the Yukon have been rising. Winters are becoming somewhat milder, though still extreme. The warming trend is clear in temperature records. While the changes may seem modest, they have significant effects on the northern environment. Permafrost is thawing as temperatures rise. This frozen ground, which underlies much of the territory, is becoming unstable as it thaws. Buildings, roads, and other infrastructure built on permafrost are affected. The thawing creates ground instability, damaging structures and requiring expensive repairs and adaptations. The thawing permafrost also releases greenhouse gases. Organic matter frozen in the permafrost decomposes when it thaws, releasing carbon dioxide and methane. These gases contribute to further warming, creating a feedback loop. The release of these gases from northern permafrost is a global concern. Wildlife is being affected by climate change. Changing temperatures and conditions affect animal populations and behaviors. Some species may benefit from warming, while others are threatened. The caribou herds, central to Indigenous culture, and the northern ecosystem may be particularly vulnerable to changing conditions. The timing of seasonal events is changing. Spring is arriving earlier. The timing of animal migrations, plant growth, and other seasonal events is shifting. These changes can disrupt ecological relationships that have developed over thousands of years. The ice that forms on rivers and lakes is affected. Freeze-up is occurring later and break-up earlier. This affects ice roads that provide winter access to remote communities. The reliability of ice roads is decreasing, creating transportation challenges. Traditional activities are being disrupted. Indigenous peoples who depend on traditional knowledge of the land and animals find that the patterns they have relied on are changing. The reliability of traditional knowledge is challenged when the climate itself is changing. This affects subsistence activities and cultural practices. Glaciers and ice fields are retreating. The massive ice fields of the St. Elias Mountains and other glaciated areas are losing mass. This affects water resources and contributes to sea level rise. The retreat of glaciers is visible evidence of the warming climate. The forests are affected by climate change. Warmer temperatures allow insect pests to survive winters that previously killed them. These pests damage forests. Wildfires are increasing in frequency and intensity as conditions become warmer and drier. The changes threaten forest ecosystems. The people of the Yukon are responding to climate change in various ways. Communities are adapting infrastructure to deal with thawing permafrost. Traditional knowledge is being combined with scientific understanding to address changes. Efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and develop renewable energy are underway. Indigenous peoples, with their deep knowledge of the land, are important observers of climate change. They notice changes that scientific monitoring might miss. Their traditional knowledge, combined with their observations of current changes, provides valuable insights into the effects of climate change. The challenges of climate change in the north are significant and likely to increase. The warming that is already occurring will continue and probably accelerate. The people of the Yukon must adapt to these changes while also contributing to global efforts to address climate change. The future of the territory will be shaped by how these challenges are met. Given the challenges of life in the Yukon, why do people choose to live there? Understanding the appeal of the North helps explain how people not only survive but thrive in this extreme environment. The natural beauty of the Yukon is a primary attraction. The spectacular mountains, pristine wilderness, abundant wildlife, and dramatic landscapes draw people who value nature. The opportunity to live surrounded by such beauty is precious to those who appreciate it. The natural environment is not just scenery, but a fundamental part of daily life. The sense of freedom and space appeals to many. The vast, sparsely populated territory offers room to breathe, away from the crowds and constraints of urban life. The wilderness provides opportunities for solitude and connection to nature. For those who feel confined by city life, the North offers liberation. The outdoor lifestyle is central to the appeal. The opportunities for hiking, paddling, fishing, hunting, skiing, and other outdoor activities are unparalleled. For people who love the outdoors, the Yukon is a paradise. The connection to nature through outdoor activities is deeply satisfying. The strong sense of community is valued. In small northern communities, people know and rely on each other. The mutual support and connection among community members create a sense of belonging. The community bonds that develop in the face of shared challenges are strong and meaningful. The slower pace of life appeals to many. Away from the rush and pressure of urban life, the North offers a more relaxed lifestyle. There is time to enjoy life, to connect with nature and people, to pursue activities that matter. The quality of life, despite the challenges, can be high. The adventure and challenge of northern life attract certain people. Those who seek adventure and are willing to test themselves against the demands of the environment find the North appealing. The challenges become part of the appeal, providing opportunities for growth and accomplishment. The unique culture and history of the Yukon are attractive. The gold rush heritage, the indigenous cultures, and the distinctive northern way of life create a rich cultural environment. Being part of this unique place and its ongoing story is meaningful to residents. Economic opportunities draw some people. Higher wages, particularly in certain sectors, make the North financially attractive for some. The opportunity to work in mining, government, tourism, or other sectors provides economic incentives. For some, the North offers better economic prospects than they might find elsewhere. For Indigenous peoples, the Yukon is home, the land of their ancestors, the place where their cultures developed, the territory to which they have deep connections. The connection to traditional lands and the opportunity to maintain and revitalize their cultures are profound reasons to remain in the North. The opportunity to live a meaningful, self-reliant life appeals to many. The North requires and rewards self-sufficiency, resourcefulness, and capability. The satisfaction of providing for oneself and meeting challenges directly is valued. The northern lifestyle offers a sense of purpose and accomplishment. The people who thrive in the Yukon have found that the rewards outweigh the challenges. They value what the North offers enough to accept the difficulties. They have learned to work with the environment, to embrace the lifestyle, and to find meaning and satisfaction in northern life. For them, the Yukon is not just a place to survive, but a place to truly thrive. The Yukon faces both opportunities and challenges as it moves into the future. How the territory navigates these will determine the quality of life for its residents and the character of the North. Climate change is perhaps the greatest challenge facing the future of the Yukon. The warming climate will continue to affect permafrost, wildlife, ecosystems, and infrastructure. Adapting to these changes while contributing to global efforts to address climate change will be a central concern. The future environment of the Yukon will be different from the present. Economic development and diversification are ongoing goals. Reducing dependence on resource extraction, developing tourism and other sectors, and creating sustainable economic opportunities are priorities. The challenge is to develop the economy while protecting the environment and respecting Indigenous rights and values. The relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples will continue to evolve. The implementation of self-government agreements, the revitalization of Indigenous cultures, and the building of respectful relationships are ongoing processes. The future of the Yukon will be shaped by how these relationships develop. Infrastructure development is needed to support communities and the economy. Roads, communications, energy, and other infrastructure must be developed and maintained. The challenges of building and maintaining infrastructure in the north, complicated by climate change, are significant. Investment in infrastructure is essential for the territory's future. Population and demographic trends will affect the future. Attracting and retaining residents, particularly young people and skilled workers, is important. The aging of the population and the migration of young people to southern Canada are concerns. Maintaining a vibrant, sustainable population is necessary for the territory's future. Energy development, particularly renewable energy, offers opportunities. Reducing dependence on expensive diesel in remote communities and developing clean energy sources are goals. Solar, wind, and other renewable sources are being explored. Energy development could reduce costs and environmental impact while creating opportunities. The preservation of the natural environment is a priority. The pristine wilderness that defines the Yukon and attracts visitors and residents must be protected. Balancing development with conservation is an ongoing challenge. The natural environment is fundamental to the territory's identity and economy. Tourism is likely to grow in importance. The appeal of the wilderness, the history, and the northern lights will continue to draw visitors. Developing sustainable tourism that benefits communities while protecting the environment is a goal. Tourism offers economic diversification and opportunities. Technology will play an increasing role. Improved communications connect even remote communities to the wider world. Technology can address some of the challenges of remoteness and isolation. The application of technology to northern challenges offers opportunities for improving life in the territory. The resilience and adaptability that have characterized Yukon residents will be important for meeting future challenges. The ability to adapt to change, to solve problems, and to work together has allowed people to thrive in the north. These qualities will be essential for navigating the future. The future of the Yukon is uncertain but full of possibility. The challenges are significant, particularly climate change. But the territory has resources, opportunities, and resilient people. How the Yukon meets its challenges and seizes its opportunities will determine its future. The story of thriving in the extreme Canadian North continues to unfold. The Yukon represents one of humanity's most remarkable achievements, the ability to not merely survive but thrive in one of Earth's most extreme environments. The story of the Yukon is a story of human resilience, adaptation, and the capacity to find meaning and beauty in challenging circumstances. For thousands of years, Indigenous peoples developed knowledge and culture perfectly adapted to the North. They demonstrate that you can flourish in extreme conditions through accumulated wisdom, cooperation, and respect for the natural world. Their continuing presence and cultural revitalization affirm the depth of human adaptation to the North. The gold rush brought tens of thousands of people into the wilderness, demonstrating the lengths to which people will go in pursuit of dreams. While most found hardship rather than fortunes, the gold rush established the Yukon in the popular imagination and shaped its identity. The legacy of that era continues to define the territory. Today, people from diverse backgrounds choose to live in the Yukon. They have learned to work with the extreme environment, to embrace the northern lifestyle, and to find satisfaction in life in the north. They demonstrate that thriving in extreme conditions is possible for those willing to adapt and embrace the challenges. The natural environment of the Yukon is extraordinary. The spectacular mountains, pristine wilderness, abundant wildlife, and dramatic phenomena like the northern lights and midnight sun create a setting of stunning beauty. The connection to this natural environment is central to the appeal and meaning of northern life. The challenges of the north are real and significant. The extreme cold, the darkness, the remoteness, the high cost of living, and now climate change all demand response and adaptation. Yet these challenges are met by people who have developed the knowledge, skills, and attitudes necessary to thrive. The spirit of the north, the combination of self-reliance, community, connection to nature, resilience, and appreciation for the unique qualities of life in the north, defines the Yukon. This spirit allows people to not only survive but to truly thrive in the extreme Canadian North. The lessons of the Yukon are valuable for all of us. They demonstrate human adaptability and resilience. They show the importance of community and cooperation. They illustrate the value of working with rather than against the environment. They remind us of the meaning and satisfaction that can come from meeting challenges directly. As climate change transforms the North and the world, the Yukon will continue to face challenges. But the resilience and adaptability that have characterized the territory's people will continue to serve them. The story of thriving in the extreme Canadian North is ongoing, and its future chapters remain to be written. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Yukon. Through its extreme environment, its rich history, its diverse communities, and the remarkable people who call it home. If you found this exploration of how people thrive in the extreme Canadian North meaningful, please like this video and subscribe to True Globe for more journeys through the world's most extraordinary places and the people who inhabit them. Share your thoughts in the comments. What aspect of life in the Yukon most impressed or surprised you? The Yukon teaches us that human beings can find ways to thrive even in the most challenging environments. Through knowledge, adaptation, community, and resilience, people have made one of Earth's harshest territories their home. The spirit of the North, of meeting challenges with determination and finding beauty and meaning in difficult circumstances, is an inspiration to us all. We'll see you on the next adventure.